Hey guys, it's the Lord here, back again with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at quite possibly one of, if not my favorite, Masterverse figures of this calendar year, 2023. And of course I am talking about the new Eternia Webstor, the master of escape himself, brought to us by the fine folks over at, say it with me now, Mattel. And I gotta tell you, next to Bad, the Deluxe 2 Bad, also from the new Eternia subline, this guy right here, he's just doing something for me, and I can't really explain it, but he has Figure of the Year potential. And not number 1, but top 10. So, keep in mind, I haven't reviewed him yet, but I also have Clawful. So, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Because, not to, poo-poo on the new Eternia Faker again. I already did that yesterday, if you haven't checked that out. Please do. Would really appreciate it if you did. But I did mention good old Clawful in that video, so we're going to do that again here in just a minute. Because, in the way of Webstor's accessories, if I can not get everything tangled up here, he does come with an alternate pair of hands. He's got a claw and a punching hand. These have thicker pegs too, so I think they're starting to incorporate these because the rotation on some of the older figures is a little loose, particularly with the new Eternia Skeletor, or a lot of the Skeletors. They can't hold their Havoc staffs up because the wrist swivel is kind of loose, depending on your figure, of course. Results may vary. They are mass-produced. But I think that's why they're starting to go that route. Because I noticed that on the Revelation Deluxe Man-at-Arms with all the extra accessories and stuff. He had that going on too. That said, he does have this really cool blaster, or grapple gun, I should say. And this back piece can come out, as well as this piece on the side here. And on top of that, the grapple hook can also be removed. And you can do a number of things with this. First of all, you got the orange blaster. That's pretty much it for that. This little handle piece you can attach to this here. And he can just hold this, or you can put it into his backpack and have that classic vintage toy look, because this does kind of represent that little tab that the vintage toy had, so that's kind of cool. It should also be worth noting that the grapple hook can open up here, so that's very nice. Another thing you can do with this, you can pop this off, and you can actually take some of the spider legs off his back here. If I turn him around, you can see that they are on ball hinges, or disc hinges, so they can rotate and they can hinge up and down. You can pop these off, 2 of them in fact, and put them on here and give them a kind of a claw weapon. Or you can just straight up pop these back for a minute here. You can pop these up. Give them a very 2000X aesthetic with that. And you can also, if I can do it here, pop the backpack off, and that's how you get the string inside. But look at that. Like the Faker we took a look at yesterday, he's got some tech detailing underneath there, which is pretty cool. That said, I personally like having this back here. It's kind of tricky to get on. You gotta put it on there just right, and it'll snap right in. I wouldn't worry about this breaking over time. I just wouldn't do it a whole heck of a lot because it could get loose. But like I had in the beginning of the video, you can collapse these down around him for storage, and then when he's ready for battle, you can spring them back up again. And that, in my opinion, is really cool, because I don't even think the Classics one can do that. I know a lot of people like and prefer the Classics one. It's totally okay if you are in that group of individuals. But I gotta tell you, not having that figure and unsure if I'll be able to get it off my buddy Evil Villain at some point. One day. I gotta tell you, I'm perfectly happy with this Webstor. I think he's awesome. He's got a really cool head sculpt, if you can see that. He's got jeweled eyes like the Alfredo Alcala head from Masters of the Universe Origins. I think it was in the Rise of Evil 2-pack with Kaldor and Cronus, if I'm not mistaken. And he's got his teeth showing. I might have preferred a closed mouth, but I don't mind the open mouth. You know, I would have preferred an open mouth on, who's the purple half of Too Bad Is a Batra? I would have preferred that on him, maybe, because that's more 2000X-y, but this is cool. That said, the 2000X Webstor is my favorite design for this character, but that Staction is expensive, so I do not have that, at least not yet. I do have Clawful, though. Shout out to Evil Villain for that. But as far as this guy's articulation goes, his head is on the standard kind of ball joint hinge situation. I did notice there's like a little tab on the back of this neck peg now. I noticed it on Faker when I popped his head off to pull off his armor the other day. And, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I guess they changed the mold or something, but it is what it is. Just get a little tilt, too. Shoulders can go out to the side pretty far. Back down, all the way around. He's got a bicep twist. Works pretty well. He's got double elbows. That can get you about that much. A little hindered by the fins there. He does have swivel in the wrist, but they are detented, so they pop into place. That said, he does have hinge wrists, but the hinges are not up and down, so that kind of stinks, but it's fine. Move these spider legs out of the way here. You can crunch him forward and back. He does rotate as well, so that's cool. I will say the armor does stay on nice and snug, all things considered. He does have a waist twist. And one thing new on this guy, folding those back up, that I noticed is that he has, if we lift his loincloth up, sorry buddy, drop down hip joints, which, you guys know me, I'm not a fan of these. Personally, I think this line would benefit from some butterfly joints because of the way the armor fits on the torso. It doesn't really, it wouldn't really impede the aesthetic. But I will tell you, I did have to get this guy replaced from the fine folks over at Big Bad Toy Store. Shout out to my buddy Ryan at customer service for helping me out there. This side on my first one was stuck. So, you know, that's going to happen when you have two ABS, I assume this is ABS, halves that are glued together. There's potential for stuff to get stuck. I heated it. I used water, hair dryer, everything. I even stuck it in the freezer just to try and get the glue to crack, and I could not get it to move any more than it barely did. But this one works fine. I'm still not a fan of those, especially when you get perfect splits without them. So I don't know what's up with that, why they went that route as opposed to butterfly joints. I think the wrestling, the elites, are they called, have those joints too, but they also have the butterfly joints. And they have the same kind of torso rotation ball joint thingy that these guys have. So maybe someday we'll get butterfly joints. I didn't notice it on any of the new figures, but they will have the drop down, so, you know, keep an eye out for that. He does have a thigh cut, as well as a double knee that can bend pretty well. Popping that up there. He's got a calf cut, a little loose, not gonna lie, but not terrible. And he's got a hinge in the foot with a rocker and peg holes at the bottom of the feet, which I will say his ankle joints could be a little tighter, on mine anyways. Same with the calf rotation, but it's not as bad as my new Eternia Skeletor, so I'll let it slide. I think maybe over time those could stiffen up, because I did actually swap the calves from my previous Webstor onto this one because he had tighter ankles. So there you go. Setting him down, however. As far as putting this gun back together, pop this piece in the end here, like so. It has to be like this, even though this looks more like a gun stock. He doesn't have that up and down hinge in the wrist, so it doesn't really work. Then you can also take the little plug here, put that on the side. I like to wrap the string from the grapple hook around the gun, just so you don't have a bunch of string hanging out like a Beastman whip, but for now I'll just do this to spare you guys the pain and agony of watching me struggle with that. And there you go. There's Webstor's gun. There's Webstor's gun. I had to push it down all the way. Ready to rock. Just gotta put it in his hand. Which I did have to heat his hands to get this in there initially, but after you do it the first time, it's not as hard. That's what she said. That was a good one. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but there's Webstor in all of his new Eternia glory. And if I'm not mistaken, the initial Mark Taylor, I almost said Chuck Taylor, I don't know why I said that, or was thinking that. Is he a musician of some kind? I don't know. Is that a shoe? Chuck Taylor's shoes? The initial Mark Taylor design for good old Webstor here was green, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of exclusive variant at some point where he is that green color, but for now, got the traditional blue. And I'm happy with it, man. I really like this figure. I think he's awesome. So with all that being said, now that I'm done busting out the knee pads for good old Webstor, the Master of Escape here, let's now move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Webstor alongside a couple other figures that utilize the same bits and pieces that he does. Of course, we have the Lord of Destruction himself, good old Skeletor, as well as Mr. Neutral himself, good old Zodak. And I say this because they all have the finned arms, and as far as I know, the same legs. Maybe there's some differences here and there, particularly in the shins, but for the most part, they seem to utilize a lot of the same parts. That said, it should be worth noting, I think Webstor and Skeletor share the same feet, if I'm not mistaken, so there is that. And it should also be worth noting that the torso on Webstor might have the same sculpt as Skeletor, at least. Zodak, I think, has the fuzzy wuzzies sculpted on his. It is a little different on Webstor, however, because he does have that added torso articulation, as well as the crotch because of the drop down hips. So take that for what you will, but moving these two out of here. Actually, no, Zodak has different shins, so yeah, he does not have the same shins as anyone else who was just here. That said, this of course wouldn't be one of my videos without bringing in Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus and the 11 Spawn, and had Webstor had the black armor instead of this, I think it's dark purple, kind of hard for me to tell anyways. He'd be a perfect candidate for the red and black club, but you know, he's still an awesome figure, but just doesn't qualify to be in Brother Mandy and Spawn's exclusive club for red and black outfit sporting mofos. So with all that being said, now move right along and wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and out of all of the Masterverse figures, New Eternia or otherwise, that I have picked up, not just reviewed, but picked up in this past calendar year of 2023, for those of you watching this in the future, good old Webstor here is quite possibly one of, if not my favorite release of the year. Next to Too Bad, this guy is the definition of bang for your buck and a solid offering at the price point. And I know some of you out there prefer the Classics Webstor over this one, and I can respect that. That's fine. You do you. It's totally okay. In fact, it's 110% okay. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. That said, I don't have the Classics Webstor. I can't afford the Classics Webstor. I don't know if Evil Villain will finally get annoyed with my bullcrap and give me the Classics Webstor for something later down the line. So, for the time being, I am totally happy with this one right here. That, by the way, costs less than $25. That is less than one of your overpriced Hasbro Marvel Legends. So, with that being said, I rest my case. And until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll catch you guys later.